streak. 7 runs last night, paced by Ian Desmond's homer and 3 RBIs, knocking around the Cubs' best pitcher. Today, Steven Strasburg's turn to get in on the act and give the boss another reason to smile.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
It's warm, it's a little steamy, and it's baseball weather at Nationals Park. What a good May it's been. Ian Desmond signing for everybody. In fact, he's been tattooing a few baseballs around this park as well. The Nats have won 5 in a row, 7 of 8. May has been very good. They're not averaging a ton of runs, but they're pitching really well. The defense has been tightened up, so it's been a blooming month of May for the boys so far. Bob and FP, welcome to the ballpark. Jason Worth goes on the DL. Bryce Harper still not in the lineup for another day, at least.
He had that ingrown toenail, and he had pictures of it on the internet last night. It did not look good, so we hope that Bryce Harper's back in there sooner rather than later. Thought it would be a one-day deal, but it looks like it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I haven't seen those pictures, and I'm not sure I want to. I'd rather look at Steven Strasburg, who's going to take the mound today. The ERA great at home. He's doing everything but getting the W on his side of the ledger, really.
Yeah, winless in his last 6 starts. He hasn't had the run support, or really defensive support in a few of those. His 2.84 runs per 9 inning is the 9th lowest in the National League, but the first inning for Strasburg has been the problem. You see the ERA at 9. Opponents average 3.44 and strikeouts per walks just 6-3. So we'll keep an eye on him right here, right now in the first inning. Thought he was a lot better last time out pounding the strike zone.
Former Nat Edwin Jackson goes for the Cubs, signed a big 4-year contract. A lot of money, and they've gotten no return on that so far. Good team, bad team. He's been a 500 pitcher, but not this year.
Now watch his last start out against the Reds at Wrigley Field. And velocity down this year for Edwin Jackson. Fastball just 91 to 93 miles an hour. Touched 94 a couple times, but you remember in the Nationals uniform, he sat at 95 miles an hour. Occasionally had that reach back 97. So keep an eye on Edwin's velocity here today, but everything up for Edwin Jackson early in this season.
And our guys aren't afraid to pitch to contact. Roger Bernardina, a gem. Bryce Harper will slide all over the ballpark. Great play by Bernardina and Suzuki. And then there's the center fielder, Denard Span, who's playing as well as anybody in the outfield in Major League Baseball right now. for the achiever in you. Great day. Sun's coming out. Nats are on the field. Some elementary school students are helping them find their positions. And we're going to have another big crowd after 37,191 came through the turnstiles last night. Train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. So 76, a little muggy, 62. Just a few showers around town last night and this morning. And really nice for now. Early game notes. Jason Worth goes on the DL. Now that's retroactive back 8 days. So really he'll only be out for a week from this point. And Yuri Perez on fire at Syracuse, hitting .346, called up. The Nats are dominating at home against the Cubbies since this park opened in 08. And the bullpen this month, 0.52, 1.93 over the last 23 games. Getting it done. Here's the Cub lineup. Starlin Castro, a couple of hits last night. That was in the leadoff spot with David DeJesus leading off against the right-hander. He'll bat second. He's 7th in the National League with 41 hits. 1 for 3 career against Steven Strasburg, and just one of the best-looking young shortstops in Major League Baseball is Starlin Castro. So here's Strasburg. 1-start career against the Cubs. That was opening day last year at Chicago when he went 7 innings, 5 hits, a run, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. Did not figure in the decision, but he was pretty good on a cold day at Wrigley. Let's check him out on a warm day in D.C.
Yeah, last time out Saturday at Pittsburgh. Pitched well, but received the no decision. Allowed 4 runs on 5 hits over 7 innings. Gave up a pair of 2-run homers. Starling Marte and Clint Barmas, the culprits. Struck out 8, walked nobody through 95 pitches, 65 for strikes. So 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball, averaging 95.4 miles an hour per Fangraphs. That's the highest fastball velocity in the big leagues this year. Curveball and change to go with it. Let's set the defense for the Nats today. Moore, Span, Bernardino in the outfield. Desmond Zimmerman on the left side. Espinosa LaRoche on the right side. And Wilson Ramos getting the knife behind the plate today.
Doug Eddings, a 15-year veteran, has the plate. John Trumpain, Paul Nauert, Angel Hernandez, the crew chief, around the bags. David DeJesus hitting .271. And he has seen Steven Strasburg before. He's had some success against him. 3 for 6. First pitch of the game is upstairs, and we're underway at 4:07. Strasburg, 6 to make it 8th start. 1-4 with a 3.45 ERA. In the league, getting .228 against him. Fastball command, always something to keep an eye on early. NFP, as well as that first inning ERA that's been a big time problem.
Yeah, 9 in the first, 3.44 average against. After that, it's smooth sailing for Steven Strasburg. So all of a sudden, with the big right-hander, the first inning has become everything.
Yeah, and a lot of those problems off the windup. It's just been a very odd thing. That's a good looking heater right in there. All right, 9 runs, 7 of them earned in 7 starts this year. Boy, take away that is ERA. At least a run or more below what it is right now. That's perfect on the corner, and the count goes full. 3-2.
And pretty good velocity right here. 2-seam fastball on the black, down away, 97 miles an hour. Good late sink on top of it.
Cubs are hitting .243. They're 10th in the league in average, 11th in runs, but 3rd in home runs, tied with Milwaukee with 40. That's out of play to the left side. Only the Braves and the Rockies have hit more home runs than the Brewers and the Cubs. And this is more of Chicago's regular lineup we see. They loaded up on right-handers against Ross Detweiler last night. DeJesus, 11th year in the big leagues. Most of that with Kansas City. .281 career hitter. And he's hit 4 home runs this year.
So a 3-0 to 4 strikes in a row for Strasburg. Lowered his sights. Slowed everything down a hair. Found his release point.
Outfield around to the left for De Jesus, a slash hitter who's got gap-to-gap power. And a 3-2 in the air to right center. Roger Bernardina is at the track, at the scoreboard, and he grabs it about 380 feet away. I thought this might be a day, FP, when the ball carries, because it's warm, it's muggy, and it's kind of slugging conditions today.
Yeah, good at bat right here by De Jesus, but a better job by Steven Strasburg of being down 3-0 to the leadoff man, coming back, pumping 5 strikes in a row to get an out, regardless of how he hit it. Keeps him out of the stretch, keeps him in the windup, maybe helps him get that rhythm before he goes to the stretch. So a nice comeback out right there to start this game up for Steven Strasburg.
That'll bring in Starlin Castro. He goes up hacking. Castro at 273. He got hits number 40 and 41 here last night. Starling Marte of the Pirates leads the league with 46 hits going into today's game at New York, and they're hammering the Mets. By the way, there's another story emerging today in the National League. Adam Wainwright just made it through 7 innings against Colorado, no hitter going.
Well, he's probably got a curveball going like that today for the Cardinals.
I bet he does. So that's Colorado at St. Louis, no hit through 7. Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman, next, and he's on a roll right now, 5 for his last 8. Castro 1 for 3 career against Steven. Got him on an off-speed pitch. And the tag, 2 outs.
The changeup at 91, is that what you're talking about?
Off-speed to the immortal.
So a Dan Heron fastball right here for strike 3. A Steven Strasburg changeup right here for strike 3. So Starlin Castro saw it all. 97-mile-an-hour fastball, the hook at 81 for a strike, and then the wipeout changeup at 91 miles an hour for strike 3.
Here's Rizzo, who has never faced Steven Strasburg. One of the co-leaders in the National League in extra base hits, best extra base hits with 19. Ian Desmond has 19. Justin Upton.
98 right there, 2-seam fastball. And you look at the extra base hits, NL leaders, guy in the box, guy standing at short. And Justin Upton right up there too. He probably should have been highlighted.
Well, Steven tried to reach back, and he did. That was 98 sailing upstairs.
Being told he plays for the Braves, and we don't highlight those guys.
That was off speed. Ian Desmond. What are your favorite numbers to start a game?
1, 2,
3. Fly ball, strikeout, ground out. it's not worth building. So Ian Desmond tied with Anthony Rizzo atop the league with those extra base hits. And through 35 games, third most in franchise history. Ian also a co-leader in doubles with 12. And the Nats will see a pitcher whose repertoire they should be very familiar with, although it doesn't appear that, as FP said, Edwin Jackson is throwing the ball nearly as well as he was 1 year ago today. It's his third career appearance, second career start against Washington, no record with a 1.13 ERA.
The problem's been lefties. You see that 361 average against. Last time out on the fifth against the Reds, suffered his fifth loss of the year, allowed 4 runs on 8 hits over 5 innings, struck out 5, walked 1 through 86 pitches, 51 for strikes. So been throwing a lot of two-seam fastballs this year, sinkers that we didn't see from Edwin Jackson, but he'll do that when his velocity is down, and it has been this year. He's been 91 to 93, and Nats fans know by watching Edwin all last year that he sat around 94, would touch 97 on occasion, and he'll let you know early how the day is going to go based on his secondary pitches, the slider especially.
And Denard Span, long time in the American League, knows Jackson really well. That ball fouled by not more than 2 feet. Denard's had 13 at-bats against him and 5 base hits. Checks in at 280.
Now this ball just missing down the line. Span taking a look. You see Luis Valbuena / umpire with his arm in the air saying that ball's going to be foul. He knew.
And Span will pull that one that's in on his hands. Counts 1 ball, 2 strikes. So the Nats batting average on a slow rise here. In the 220s for a while. They're at 235 now. Here's another number for you. They're within 5 of evening their runs for and runs against. And with some blowout losses early, like the 15-0 game in Cincinnati, the 9-0 game in Atlanta, it's been a long climb back to get those runs for, runs against close to each other. So they're on the doorstep. And the count's 2-2. National League East, the Nats are only a game behind the Braves, who lost in San Francisco last night. Mets are getting hammered today. Phillies tonight at Arizona. Marlins tonight at LA. 2-2 pitch. So the Nats are the hottest team in the National League with 5 in a row. Really the hottest winning streak in all of baseball right now. Cubs have lost 6 of their last 8. And the Nats have their swagger back at home. They're 12-7 here. 2-2 pitch. Easy take. Counts full. Edwin's numbers between day games and night games last year, pretty dramatically different. ERA about twice during the day, as it was when he operated at night. In going 10-11 for the Nats in 31 starts. Three-two pitch. Span forcing the pitcher into a long AB here.
On the other side of that coin, Steven Strasburg, 12-6 with a 2.33 ERA and 25 career day game starts. At 2.33 ERA is 4th lowest in the majors since 2010.
Yeah, tough to see his stuff under bright sunshine, which we have right now. Another 3-2. And Span will serve it out to center. Shading toward the gap was De Jesus, 1 out. But not a bad way for Denard Span to give his teammates a long look at Edwin Jackson.
That's at the defense for the Cubs today. Soriano, De Jesus, Sherholtz in the outfield. Castro, Valbuena on the left side. Barney Rizzo on the right side. And Wellington Castillo doing the catching. 231 consecutive games for Starlin Castro. That's the 2nd longest streak in baseball, the longest active streak of the National League. He's behind the guy that was playing first here for the Tigers. What was his name again? Prince Fielder or something
yeah,
like
Cecil's guy.
Yeah, that guy's going to be good someday. Prince Fielder, 377 consecutive games. I like those guys that get it done every single day. Not like you, Carp.
4 o'clock start. A little unique today. Fox has had most of the Saturday games, and some of those have been 4 o'clock. It'll get interesting for the hitters here later, especially with Strasburg pitching. So whoever gets a couple of runs early in this game gets a huge advantage. On an 0-2 fastball, Bernardina ducks back, ball 1. Ryan Zimmerman is next. Bernardina lashes one to right center. But looking into the sun to grab it, Nate Schierholtz, 2 outs. Let's go inside the numbers with Dodge. Check out their full lineup. A powerful lineup and a world of performance design and fuel efficiency. So almost 190 innings, ERA over 4. League hit .243 against him. Edwin had 168 strikeouts. That was a career high. 58 walks. He's only pitched 200 innings once in his career. That was back in 2009 when he went 13-9 for the Tigers. He's had 3 winning years that year. Tampa Bay 14-11 the year before that, and then in 11 a combined 12-9 for the White Sox and St. Louis. Ryan Zimmerman's 1 for 4 with an RBI against him.
Well, there's a lot of talk with the Cardinals when Edwin was over there. Or Carpenter and Wainwright took him aside and said, hey, we knew your pitches last year. You were tipping your pitches. And he worked on that a lot last year as a National. If you remember how the Cardinals hit Edwin in the playoffs last year, it was almost like they still had his pitches. And keep an eye on that today. I wonder if some of the National hitters know that.
Yeah, he went 6 innings against St. Louis. Gave up 5 earned runs on 9 hits. One ball and 2 strikes to Ryan Zimmerman. Walk and a base hit to salvage his evening last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you see that pitch right there, 87 miles an hour. That's a slider from Edwin Jackson. And we used to say all the time in his starts last year, he'll tell you how his day is going to go based on the fact of how that slider looks early in the game. And if he's throwing it for a strike down and into lefties, and it looks like it's going to be a fastball, disappears at your back knee, that's when he was tough. When that slider's not in the zone, guys would sit on his fastball, elevate it, and hit him well.
3-2. Denard Span really worked the count. Bernardina flied out. Adam LaRoche, who is red hot, is waiting. Adam with a 7-game hitting streak. 11 for 21. Zimmerman will tap it to Edwin Jackson, who will bobble it and keep it close. He didn't want to make the Cubs pitching staff's 7th error of the year. So he gets a 1-2-3. Jackson, Strasburg, both off to good starts today. Here, Soriano, Scherholtz, and Valbuena. That's our Freight Rail Works do-ups. And this month, Alfonso coming alive a bit. His batting average at .268 with his .286 in May. Nate Scherholtz is a good hitter. He's always been able to hit for average when given a chance to play. And then Luis Valbuena after that. Soriano 0 for 4. 2 fly balls, 2 strikeouts last night. Out of play to the right side. Alfonso 1 for 3 career against Strasburg, and that was, of course, all these numbers we're giving you about them against Strasburg in that opening day game last year in Chicago. That would be with the exception of David DeJesus. Oh, look at that. 96 painting the inside corner. Mercedes likes it. Soriano didn't.
And just caught the corner of the strike zone. Soriano turned to Doug Eddings and said he doesn't need any help.
Check out the web, mbusa.com for Mercedes-Benz. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball gets away. Ramos has time, and he makes a very good throw. So that's the kind of stuff Steven Strasburg has today. Tough to hit and tough to catch at times.
And a curveball from Strasburg, 59 feet. Soriano convinced a fastball is coming right here. Nowhere near this pitch. Tried to hit it on a hop cricket style. You see the funny bounce off the chest protector. Wilson Ramos hustling back there. Good throw right on the money. It's the best I've seen Steven Strasburg this year. His stuff is electric today.
And one more note on that play. And we knew this was not going to be a problem. But it's so good to see Wilson Ramos moving around the way he is. This is 29-year-old Nate Scherholtz. Right side, Adam LaRoche. Nice big hop. He can lead Strasburg right to the bag.
Now go back to the first inning for Steven Strasburg. We said it would be big. A 9 ERA, a 3.44 average against in the first this year, and a 3-0 comeback right there to a long out off the bat of David DeJesus. A strikeout, then a ground out. That's the first time this year Steven Strasburg's had a 1-2-3 first.
Yeah, on opening day, Juan Pierre had a leadoff hit to start the season. Strasburg, by the way, since he threw 3 balls in a row to David DeJesus to go to 3-0, 16 of 17 strikes. And here's Luis Valbuena. The pop of the mitt, the cry of the ump, and a batter behind.
Is that how Mighty Casey starts?
I did get a little poetic there.
Yeah, you did. I like it.
Well, some men turn into bards when they watch this wonderful game when it's being pitched and played the right way. Now, there are other times. But today, how about that? 22 pitches, only 4 have missed. 0-2. Tried to overpower him. Forced an inside-out swing.
98 miles an hour on the black from Steven Strasburg. He's touched 98 a few times this year, but he's hit it 3 or 4 times here in the first 2 innings. Ball jumping out of his hand here early at Nats Park. I mean, he's sitting at 96, an occasional 97, and touching 98. Curveball's good, changeup's good.
Just a little bit low. Crowd clapping for another 1-2-3. Took a little bit off and missed outside. Wellington Castillo, who Strasburg would love to face leading off the third. 2-2 pitch. Overpowered him with a fastball upstairs, and Valbuena shaking his right hand after that piece of contact. Couldn't have felt too good.
Did the ball hit his hand? Was that just vibration? I mean, that ball was so far inside, 98 miles an hour. Let's check out the replay. Not even close, but there was some serious vibration there, and the way he's shaking it like that. You wonder if there's something going on with his wrist on the swing, and that can't be just from the vibration of the bat.
Oh, look at that hook, 82. So Strasburg looking vintage Strasburg today. 6 in a row, 3 on strikes, and he pulled down the lampshade on this breaking ball. Hitter has no chance. Desmond Espinosa coming up. Second inning presented by Luna. Called today for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241 Luna. Pups in the park.
Nice pit bull.
By the way, one of our favorite guys who stops by once or twice a year came to see us in booth today. His name is Matt. He lives out in Leesburg. His mom Kathy's watching today. Matt is one of our special friends who stops by with his buddy Jim DeShays every year. Used to be with the Astros, now with the Cubs. And we just wanted to say hi to everybody out in Leesburg today. Rockies got a base hit in the 8th inning against Adam Wainwright. Nolan Arenado with a hit. It's always guys like that who make contact, who you may never have heard of before, who break up no-hitters.
I've heard of Nolan and no-hitters.
Yeah.
But not the other way around.
It's funny you bring that up, because when I was with Texas, Nolan almost threw one in Toronto. And a guy who levels off and makes contact. And there's LaRoche with a hot shot to the right side. Anthony Rizzo to Edwin Jackson. Nelson Liriano broke up that no-hitter. It's always guys like that, the slashers who make contact and keep the bat in the zone for a while. So 1 out, 4 in a row for Edwin Jackson before a big crowd on a brilliant day in Washington, D.C. Here's Ian Desmond. What a ball game last night. Single, homer, double, scored 3, drove in 3. Oh for 2 career against Edwin Jackson, who just misses inside. By the way, Ian, with that performance last night, is now 8 for 13 career against Jeff Samardzija. There aren't many hitters who can say anything near that. Late on a fastball, out of play right side, and he drilled that 4-bagger last evening.
Yeah, first pitch slider, or a slider, I should say. Can't remember it was a first pitch or not, off of Jeff Samardzija. Kind of backed up on him out over the plate. Desmond looking for the fastball, caught it. The slider out front, and a low liner out of here for his 5th home run of the year. A couple of RBIs to get to 15.
2-1. Edwin has given up just 2 homers this year. There's Jeff Samardzija, who with that loss goes to a puzzling 1 for 5 but a still solid 3.70 ERA.
Well, the puzzling part's because he's left the game a couple of times with leads this year, and his bullpen hasn't been able to hold it for him.
That's a slider away. No swing, says John Trumpain, rookie umpire, who, as far as I know, is working his first week in the big leagues, and he'll have the plate tomorrow. Close. Dangerous count, and he drills it into left center. Desmond digging for another double. That'll be his 20th extra base hit. And when it comes to doubles, that'll be number 13.
A 13th double of the year for Desmond. There goes a no-hitter. And how many guys can hit a ball that hard, one step left of the shortstop, and get a double out of it? I mean, usually a double's, in the gap, and Ian Desmond almost robbed by Starlin Castro of a single with his speed and how he runs, turns it into a double.
You don't see many balls hit that close to the ground that actually have hook on them. I mean, he got all of that thing. Big spot for Danny Espinosa, who's always swung it well against the Cubs. And Danny had a nice game last night with a 2-run double off the scoreboard, gave the Nats that 3-run fifth inning that really iced the game at that point. With his ball club up by 5, he's got a chance to give him the lead here. 1 for 3 career against Jackson. Castro right behind Desmond to keep him close. 2-0.
So with that double for Ian Desmond, he takes the lead in extra base hits. Number 20 with his 20th.
Yeah, who says 13 is unlucky? That was double number 13, and I'm not sure he hit any of the previous 12 harder than that. Two and 0. Target in. Espinosa took a shot at making it 2-0. Let's go inside the numbers with Dodge and how Danny has hit the Cubs well. 310 career. 6.5 at-bats every time between RBIs. Schedule a test drive or go to Dodge.com and check out their powerful lineup. Two-one. This ball is in the air to center. It's going to back up David DeJesus. Desmond tagging. DeJesus backpedaling a little bit. Can't get anything on the throw. And Ian Desmond goes to third with 2 outs. Going to bring in Tyler Moore. A couple of encouraging signs from Tyler last night. And it did not involve pulling the ball. He hit it to center or the other way 3 times last night. 1 a base hit. 1 required in center field. A really good play by Ryan Sweeney. And then he flied out to right. So obviously Rick Eckstein been working with Tyler on staying on the ball. He had been pretty pull happy with some of his swings. 8 hits this year, 8 RBIs.
I think, though, more than that, it's about getting into an at-bat and letting it breathe a little bit. Tyler Moore been very anxious the last week or so, swinging at everything he sees. You get some more playing time. The game starts to slow down for you. You realize you're going to be in there again, and now that Jason Worth is on the DL, he's going to be getting a lot more at-bats more frequently, and that allows you as a hitter to make adjustments, not only at-bat to at-bat, but pitch to pitch, to where if something's going wrong, you can fix it. As a pinch hitter, your whole day revolves around 1 AB. You go for 1 with a line out to short, you're going home grumpy, but when you get 4 at-bats, it allows you to figure things out and get your timing down, and that's what's happening with Tyler Moore.
Who strikes out? Second inning over. Ian Desmond has the game's only hit for either team. Another double. No score into the 3rd. That includes tomorrow when Gio goes for the Nats, and maybe the boys would be in a position for a sweep. Some of those tickets start at just $10. Go to nationals.com/tickets, and the boys will be gone for a while. Won't be back here until Friday the 24th for 3 against the Phillies, 2 against the Orioles. See your authorized Dodge dealer. Experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Inside the numbers with Dodge. So the percentage of pitches that he uses and how the opponents, the league, is hitting against them. And of course the changeup and the curveball FP, that's when he's usually ahead in the count. And he has that put away ability with those secondary pitches.
But to me, the story today is the ball jumping out of his hand on the fastball, first and foremost, 95-98.
It's all working off that, isn't it?
And he's facing a team that's hitting just .212 on the road this year. And the strike zone so far from Doug Eddings has been a hair on the generous side, so you have some things working in your favor. Good stuff. An umpire that's hunting strikes. And a team who, so far this year, in only 17 games, hasn't put it together on the road offensively.
1-1 pitch. That is up and in. It intimidates the hitter, and he gets a called strike with it to Wellington Castillo, the catcher. I mean, when you can move a hitter back and get a strike, something pretty good is going on here today. And he changes up on that pitch. 90 miles an hour on a changeup. Strikeout number 4.
I mean, I think he's had 4 strikeouts, and 3 of them have been on different pitches. 1 on the fastball, 1 on the curveball, and 2 on the changeup.
Well, Darwin Barney finally got his base hit to break an 0 for 24 last night. 9th inning double down the left field line. He looks at a big hook on the first pitch there. Barney 0 for 3 career against Steven. Target is in. And a chopper on 2 hops to Ian Desmond. 8 in a row to start the game. Just a reminder, as you might be enjoying a cold one right now, look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Big crowd. Man, where would you rather be? At 4:44 on a spring Saturday afternoon, then the ballpark with your ace on the mound. There's Edwin Jackson. 0 for 10 as a hitter, but he can hack. 188 career. We saw Edwin take some great swings last year. He's hit a home run, 7 career RBIs. .97 tipped into the mid of Ramos. Two strikes, 2 outs. 9 in a row to start the game.
He has got it going on, folks.
Who has a chance on a breaking ball like that? 5 Ks in these first 9 outs. Today, he's really throwing well. AFCEA is the Association for Global Security Professionals. Good afternoon, Julie.
Hello, boys. So, Bob, as you mentioned earlier, Jason Worth has officially been added to the disabled list. He is to return on the 18th, which will be part of our San Diego series. I talked to him yesterday, and he said, you know, the most frustrating part about this whole thing is that I feel good. He said he's never had an issue with the hamstring before, so he's kind of in uncharted waters. And Davey, as you know, likes to play this one really safe. He doesn't want to see anything happen to him out there in the outfield, so he's going to have him sit. He's going to be on the disabled list for a bit. Hopefully he will be better, and hopefully that stomach virus clears itself up. The dehydration obviously not helping that hamstring either. As for Bryce Harper, his toe, Davey says, is still a little bit sore. I don't know if you got a load of that picture he tweeted yesterday. What a gorgeous ingrown toenail that one was, and by the looks of it, quite painful.
I'm not going to look at that.
I looked at it once. That was good.
I like watching his swing, but not his toe. Bottom of the third, Ramos, Strasburg, Span. I know inquiring minds just have to know, but here's Wilson. 0 for 3 career against Edwin Jackson.
I mean, if you like that sort of thing, check it out.
IngrownToenail.com.
Probably is a website for that.
There's a website for everything. And a bouncer, 1 ball, 1 strike. 32 pitches, 19 strikes. First 2 innings for Edwin Jackson. Up the middle, hard hit, and a good stab by Edwin for the first out. Nats did it last night. They scored 7 or more and won. And when that happens, 50% off your regular menu price online order today. Enter promo code NATS50 at papajohns.com when ordering. Valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's. And we're going to see if one of their delivery guys can find this booth.
Yeah, let's go.
Strasburg 2 for 13 this year. 186 career hitter.
And 50% off last night, right? 7 runs.
Yeah, it's still good today.
Broadcasters, 100% off. No matter what the score is.
Strasburg. Little flare out to right, and racing in is Nate Shearholtz to get it. 2 out. Top of the order, Bernard Span. Hey, glad you're joining us today for the first series against the Cubs. Watching the Nats, some of you, on our new broadcast partner, WUSA 9. Tomorrow, you can bring your Natitude right back here to WUSA 9 for the final game of the series. Game time 1:30. Nats Extra starts at 1, as they say, at WUSA 9.
Game on.
And that's how they say it. In the hallways.
Should say it like that on the air.
Behind the set. In the control room. Span shows bunt. Valbuena was already shallow at third. Took a few more steps in. Denard long at bat first time, and then he eventually flied out to center. That is foul. Just want to take a moment here early in the telecast today. I'd like to dedicate today's telecast to our great director, Doug Yalacki. Doug lost his mom this morning. He's in the truck. He's directing this game. He will direct tomorrow before going back to Michigan to take care of things. And we just want Dougie to know that Millie will be missed, and our hearts are broken for him today, and we appreciate everything he does for us.
Well said.
And Dougie will be back with us Friday in San Diego, and we will look forward to that. We're going to have to go to Hollywood and find somebody like Steven Spielberg to replace him for 4 days. Edwin Jackson with a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes to Denard Span. Well, every time you look up, the count's at least 2-2 before his at bat ends. So many times he gets it to a payoff pitch.
Pitch number 42 coming from Edwin Jackson here in the third inning.
That's going to get him called on strikes. Well, Edwin Jackson not throwing like he's 0-5 with a 6.39 ERA, is he? And we welcome them and honor them today with our DynCorp International Troop recognition. At DynCorp, we serve today for a better tomorrow. They lift our spirits 1/2 inning before the president's race every day. And we're still trying to figure out how we feel about the last part of that. Somebody other than George and Tom, please win a race. Here's Steven Strasburg, 38 pitches, 30 strikes. David DeJesus, the most dangerous at bat of the day, flied out to the base of the wall in right center. Roger Bernardino went back to get it. Strasburg had gone to 3-0 on that count. Getting ahead.
First pitch change up, a little anti-ambush pitch right there from Steven Strasburg. Get him off the first pitch fastball. Get him off the sneak attack with a get me over changeup at 88.
Sign and drive today only during Nissan's sign and drive event. Shop choosenissan.com with the pitch track. That ball is high in the air to right, and Bernardino will go back for this one as well. Halfway onto the track. 10 straight to start the game. Starlin Castro is next.
It's time for your Head and Shoulders Whiff feature. We're going to go back to the first inning. Starlin Castro from Steven Strasburg. Fastball up at 97. Curveball on the black at 81. Fastball 98 on the black, and a thanks for coming changeup at 91 miles an hour. Starlin Castro saw all 3 pitches for strikes in his first at bat from Steven Strasburg.
First pitch breaking ball. Wow. The other thing you like about all of this, even with 5 strikeouts, the pitch count is efficient. Just under 13 pitches per inning for the first 3. That one stays way inside.
It's be an interesting pitch selection right here between Wilson Ramos and Steven Strasburg. You're throwing 98. Do you go challenge fastball to a location here to a good fastball hitter, or do you drop a 2-1 change or curve on him? I think you'd go with the heat.
He does, and Starlin Castro is late for it. AT&T fact of the game. 56% of the time this year. Third lowest in baseball, surprisingly. The Nats are throwing first pitch strikes, but Steven Strasburg is reversing that trend. But the staff is up to third in the league. The overall ERA is 3.45. The only staff's better than that. St. Louis 2.98, Atlanta 3.43. Swing and a miss on 97 down in the zone. And I mean a late swing. Strikeout number 6.
Almost like Starlin Castro was sitting soft right there against a guy that's throwing 98 consistently today. Got 97 right there. Two-seam variety. Lots of late sink and an emergency hack right here from Castro. Strikeout number 6 on the day for Steven Strasburg. Tried to foul it off, buy himself another chance. Couldn't do it. Too hard.
Anthony Rizzo bounced out to Desmond first time. This guy might be the toughest out in the Cubs lineup right now. Although David DeJesus has already been a tough out twice. Out to center. Span can't get to it. And Anthony Rizzo, if you're going to break up a perfect game, no hitter, nothing cheap about that hit. I mean, that was hit extremely hard. Clean single.
Yeah, change up at 89 miles an hour right here. Just left it up a hair. And Rizzo does a nice job of throwing his hands in the strike zone and keeping his bat in there a while. Stays through this nice. And if it falls in front of Denard Span, you know it's a clean single.
By the way, Adam Wainwright finished off that shutout in St. Louis, giving up 2 hits today. So the Rockies didn't get anything till the 8th inning and got shut out. So Strasburg has a good outing going here in the 4th inning, and he faces Alfonso Soriano.
Well, you were thinking it, I was thinking it.
Yeah,
because he's got that kind of stuff today.
Soriano jammed, and he hits it right side, counts even.
A little trip there in the delivery at the end for Strasburg. Didn't catch his landing point correctly. Went and rubbed his cleat in the mound, smoothed it out. But there was a little stumble right there at the end of his delivery.
Breaking ball has been a beautiful thing today. I mean, throwing the fastball and then really neutralizing people with curveballs and changeups.
I mean, ever since he went 3-0 to David DeJesus to start this game, it's been attack mode. And no matter what pitch. And you can attack with your off speed, too. And he's attacked with his fastball, obviously the best one we've seen this year, 97, 98. But he's attacking with the curveball and the changeup as well, going right after hitters.
Soriano down on strikes again. The Nats have struck him out 4 times. He's 0 for 6. Now how about some offense to back up this great starting pitching? Visit Cox.com to learn how Cox Advanced TV Plus provides personal recommendations based on what shows you like to watch. So Ian Desmond, the only Nat base hit. Anthony Rizzo for the Cubs. Edwin Jackson, Steven Strasburg locking up beautifully so far.
A few hard hit balls for the Nationals against Edwin Jackson. The double by Desmond. Roger Bernardino with a long fly out to right field. But Edwin knows who he's going up against today, and he's locked in a little bit himself. But this is the best we've seen Steven Strasburg maybe in a couple years today, with all 3 pitches in the strike zone, all 3 pitches jumping out of his hand. Electric, sharp, focused, in an attack mode so far in this game for Steven Strasburg.
Roger Bernardino flied to right first time up. They're shallow at the corners with Valbuena and Rizzo. Straight away in the outfield, although there is a gap, a nice big gap in left center. Soriano plays closer to the line against a left-handed batter in this ballpark than most teams we see. Usually in Nationals Park, they'll pinch toward the gaps.
Edwin Jackson's been around long enough to know that Steven Strasburg's on top of his game today, and that if he gives up 1 run, that it might be enough. So he's focused. He's sharp.
One ball, 1 strike. Bernardino, that's a foul ball, hit him in the foot before going out to the first baseman.
Hey, that right there is another reason why Bryce Harper can't play today. If he fouled the ball off that toe the way he's going, and then Roger Bernardino feeling every bit of that, hobbling around right now. There's a little cut fastball from Edwin Jackson right off the shoot top of Roger Bernardino.
Well, we'll see about tomorrow.
Most famous toe in D.C. right there somewhere.
I don't know. It might be tied for first, because in our Capitol building, there's a statue of Will Rogers, and politicians reportedly rub his toe for good luck as they walk by. It's a bronze statue that's well worn over the years.
Boy.
And maybe that's feeling a little better than Bryce's right now.
Honestly, you went a long way for that comparison.
Yeah?
Yeah. Holy cow.
And the strikeout. Number 3 for Jackson. We like to mix in a little history when we can. And we had history today. Look at this. Abe, Tom, George. Look, it looks like Teddy and Bill are talking to each other. And at the end, George is in the lead. Adios, number 1. Who's going to take it, Teddy or Bill?
Bill by a boiler. And how else would he win his first race?
He's finally on the board. Finally, the desperate cries from the TV booth have been heard, and somebody other than George and Tom won a race today.
I mean, you figured if he was going to win a race, it would be with his boiler, his stomach first.
You know, did you see him put his hand into the breadbasket of Teddy there to hold him off at the end?
Yeah.
That would be an offensive foul in basketball. Zimmerman, and that one hops foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Adam LaRoche, the third due up here in the bottom of the 4th. Desmond's double. The extent of the Washington offense. Fastball up.
Yeah, a lot of fastballs. 2-seam, 4-seam cut fastballs from Jackson. 51st pitch coming. Still really hasn't established that wipeout pitch that we saw a lot last year. That slider that acts more like a hard curveball going straight down.
Zimmerman hits it hard to right, but it's right at Shearholtz, and it backs him up. I'm telling you, the ball's carrying today. And that's 2 outs here in the 4th. Adam LaRoche will be next.
A nice piece of hitting right there with 2 strikes. Good play by Nate Shearholtz right, but that's the slider right there from Jackson. And Ryan Zimmerman does a nice job of going down, digging that out, and Nate Sherholtz, who originally stood there for a second before he realized that ball was hit harder than he thought, went back, made a nice play. Nice piece hitting with 2 strikes.
That it was. Adam LaRoche, 7-game hitting streak on the line. He's 11 for his last 22. Bounced out to Rizzo first time, and that's off speed in the dirt. Game in New York went final. Mets beaten by the Pirates 11-2 today. So right now the Mets are 5 games behind the Nats in 3rd place. That's a little bit outside, 2-0.
That might have been a strike if Castillo caught it.
Adams saw a 2-0 pitch. He thought he could pull. And the count's 2-1.
But to the point you made last night, and I thought it was a good one, Adam LaRoche, off of Edwin Jackson's a good matchup for him because he's throwing that cut fastball to a lot of guys. And you made the point that LaRoche has been going the other way consistently now, and that's how you get guys closer to you. Bring him on the inner half. Even though guys know Adam LaRoche can do damage on a fastball in, but you start getting your base hits the other way, they'll bring that baseball closer to you. Then you can go pull mode and look to jump somebody to pull side for a homer.
2-1 pitch. Driven to left. Soriano to the gap to grab it. And how about Edwin Jackson against his former teammate who should know him pretty well? No score. Nationals Park, the scene of a pitcher's duel, to say the least. Strasburg 53 pitches, Edwin Jackson 55. 4 shutout innings for each. Natitude Flex Packs are still on sale. Pick 4 games, get a 5th one free. Go to nationals.com/flex. And you can cash in a free ball game. Here we go, top 5. Nate Sherholtz, Luis Valbuena, Wellington Castillo, 5, 6, 7 for the Cubbies. There is some good pitching in the league today at San Francisco, 4th inning. Paul Mahalam and Madison Bumgarner, 1-0 Giants on a 1st inning Pablo Sandoval home run. Nats trying to win. Get some help from San Francisco. There might be a 1st place tie tonight in the National League East.
Now both pitchers right now in this ball game with goose eggs, but one has obviously been more dominant than the other. Edwin Jackson's given up some hard outs. His fastball's up at times. He's competing. Well, right now, Steven Strasburg is dominating.
Fastball right by Nate Scherholtz, who bounced out to Adam LaRoche. First time up.
A 96-mile-an-hour fastball, outer half. Wilson Ramos, you're going to have to move your glove.
Yeah, Wilson today must feel like he's merely the steering mechanism on a luxury car, the way this thing's going. With speed and finesse and turning corners. Got to be a pleasure to catch a guy who's throwing like this. He's in good shape on the pitch count here in the fifth. And a ball to center. Denard Span right there. "13 of 14 retired to start the game. Luis Valbuena, third baseman, next. Valbuena, 27 years of age, from Venezuela. Cubs picked him up last year in April on waivers from Toronto. He had .219 for the Cubs in 90 games. Cubs haven't had a real power guy at third base since the departure of Ramos Ramirez. Right now their shortstop's got some power. Third base some. They got plenty over at first with Rizzo. You can kind of see Theo Epstein gradually building a ball club that they hope will be a winner in the next year or two. Cubs, though, are 9.5, now 10 games back of St. Louis in the Central. Cardinals won their game behind Wainwright. And they are 13 and 22.
Fastball command on top of the velocity has been the combination for Strasburg today. Like I've said a couple of times, in attack mode, but also not just throwing it to location.
Went with a 1-2 breaking ball, got a foul. Catcher Wellington Castillo awaits. Every time there's 2 strikes, somebody starts clapping. They've anticipated and been rewarded with 7 strikeouts today. Strasburg's pitched off the stretch today to 1 batter. And that was Alfonso Soriano, who he struck out last inning.
98 in. Maybe you think about that changeup down away right here at 88. 10 miles an hour difference. And it's been a good 2-strike pitch for Strasburg his whole career, but especially here today. Or just throw 98.
Ramos trying to frame it and hold it. Cholula hot sauce on this pitch track.
And Doug Edding's been hunting strikes all day long.
Bringing the heat, Cholula.
Thought that one was a little bit down.
2-2 pitch.
It was a changeup, just held on to it a little bit too long.
Doug Eddings needs a new supply of baseballs.
It was strange, though. He felt the need to walk halfway to the mound to get them. Usually walk toward the dugout to get new baseballs, not all the way out to the mound.
Maybe he was giving Wilson Ramos a little time there. That thing was pretty wicked in the dirt.
Good call.
3-2 with 1 out. That's a fair ball. It will get deep into the corner. Valbuena runs pretty well. He'll look at his third base coach, David Bell, who says, come on over and get tagged out. 2 down.
What a throw by Danny Espinosa. Absolute cannon right on the money to Ryan Zimmerman. And give the Sharks some credit for going down that corner, digging things out, hitting his cutoff man right on the money. Something you really don't work on anymore because people don't take infield before the game. But watch this. Shark bare hand right on the money to watch the bazooka. Right on the money.
Wow.
And you just can't do it any better than that. Looks like Valbuena might have blew a gasket coming around second base, but you got to give Espinosa, Bernardina some serious credit, especially Espinosa, with an absolute rocket to Ryan Zimmerman. A little bit closer than it looked initially with the Exmo, but the throw beat him.
23rd outfield assist of Roger Bernardina's career. Wow.
Well, that's good, but I feel like number 8 did most of the work right there. That was
a cannon.
I mean, he was way out there, too. And as a cutoff man, you have to know the strength of the arm and where you set yourself. And I thought Espinosa was right in the perfect spot.
Ryan Zimmerman then pulls Adam LaRoche way off the bag. That'll be Ryan's 6th error of the year. So a great throw followed up with an errant one. And the routine play struggles of Ryan Zimmerman continue.
I thought last night he did a good job of aiming to the left of Adam LaRoche and letting that sinker kind of feed back. That one, he started right at LaRoche, and if the ball's going to run on you, you see him flying open right there with the front side, getting underneath that ball, and no chance for LaRoche on the backside.
2 outs, Darwin Barney the hitter, number 8 man. So Strasburg will be required to throw extra pitches here. That's one of the few times I've seen Ryan express some anger at himself. As that ball sailed wide, he kind of turned around and was really hacked off.
Well, I'll tell you why, is because his team just got some serious momentum on that play from Bernardina to Espinosa to himself, and he knows he makes that play, you get right back in the dugout. Now momentum is wearing red, and I think that first and foremost is why he's frustrated. Obviously, it's going to cost Steven Strasburg a few more pitches here in the top of the 5th, but you can build off a play like the one we just saw in the relay offensively. You got the crowd into it, all of a sudden they're on their feet, and now you have to work hard to get that 3rd out.
2 balls, 1 strike. Barney grounded out to Desmond first time. That's perfect on the corner. Here comes the 2-strike clap again from a big crowd. Goes changeup. Pitcher on deck. And now as Strasburg walks the number 8 hitter, more pitches to get out of this inning required. First walk of the day. It'll be Steven against Edwin Jackson. That's Strasburg's 14th walk of the year in 49 innings against 51 strikeouts. Last time up, Steven Strasburg got ahead and then buckled Edwin with a nasty, wicked breaking ball.
Well, in my experiences with aces, if you make an error behind them, they pick you up. Meaning, okay, that's all right, I got you. Let me just get back in the strike zone right here. And yeah, it's unfortunate that that guy got on, but you know what? I'm going to pick you up. Because I know that for the most part, you're going to pick me up.
High strike, 0-2.
96 miles an hour, 2-seam fastball, outer half, runs back, catches the corner. Edwin Jackson says, I'll take that too.
No balls, 2 strikes. He's going to hook him again, but that one misses low and away. Counts even. Well, it could have been an inning of under 20 pitches. Now the count goes full, and the runners will get a head start. Pretty big pitch to a pitcher here. He goes with the fastball. Edwin Jackson hits that ball over Denard Span's head, and 2 runs will score on an error on a routine play, and the Cubs have made the Nats pay dearly. Edwin Jackson, career RBIs number 8 and 9.
Well, that's a huge momentum shift in this baseball game. You had the big relay play, crowd on their feet, then all of a sudden a couple of base runners reach with 2 outs, and you get into a 3-2 count with Edwin Jackson. You know he can swing the bat, but you have to throw a strike. Edwin Jackson betting fastball all the way, drives it into the right center field gap to help himself out and put his team up 2-0. Nice at-bat right there by Edwin Jackson.
So the Nats, for the first time in 10 ball games, give up unearned runs. Talked about how solid the defense has been. But on the most routine of plays here, Ryan Zimmerman couldn't end the 5th inning, and now the Cubs are on the board, leading by 2. Top of the order coming up, and another runner in scoring position. David DeJesus has had 2 pretty good at-bats against Strasburg today. Deep fly balls to right center and straightaway right.
Yeah, nobody feels worse than Ryan Zimmerman right now, but an error is an error, and they're going to happen. And you got a guy hitting 153 in the 8-hole. You got to get rid of him. You got to go right after him. You can't walk him.
David DeJesus, 281 career hitter. 8 years with Kansas City, Oakland 2 years ago, and 263 for the Cubs. 50 RBIs last year as they signed him as a free agent. Edwin Jackson's first RBIs of the year. Fastball in there, 2-1. Well, this sequence has quieted down this big crowd. Desmond, Espinosa, Moore, the do-ups, bottom of the 5th. And a 2-1. Now Stevens having a hard time throwing strikes. Starlin Castro hoping to become the 7th Cub to bat in this inning. Wow. Walk to the 8-hitter. 2-run double by the pitcher, walk to the leadoff man.
And it's just so puzzling because Steven Strasburg was absolutely on cruise control, the best stuff we've seen him have maybe in a few years. All 3 pitches in the strike zone, and defense picked him up big time, a potential triple down the right field corner. Defense let him down a routine ground ball, and now it seems like the wheels are off.
He has struck out Starlin Castro twice. Well, now in this inning, double the pitches that we thought he was going to throw. 1-0 pitch. That's to deep short. Desmond to Espinosa, safe. Bases loaded.
I'll give DeJesus credit on the backside of hustling. Good secondary lead getting in there. That's the only play Ian Desmond had right there. No wait and go across the diamond to get Starlin Castro. He runs too well. Got to this baseball quickly, got rid of it quickly. Took a little peek to third base. I don't think he had a shot there. That was his only chance, and like I said, give DeJesus credit for hustling into second base.
And now the toughest Cub to face, Anthony Rizzo, 8th batter of the inning. The bullpen is working. And the Cubs, they're smelling some blood here. They know they might be a pitch or two away from getting a dominant guy out of this game. Zach Duke warming up, although Soriano, right-hander, is the next batter. Steven gets ahead. Rizzo fouls it off, 0-2. Target in, up the middle. Espinosa can't get it. And now it's a 4-run inning for the Cubs.
Unreal. Nice to chopper up the middle right here. It might have been a change-up up for Rizzo to get on top of it. I have to believe it was. Chopped it up the middle. Espinosa can't get to the baseball. And 2 more runs for the Cubs. And I have no idea what just happened.
Well, in simple terms, the Nats gave a Major League Ball club more than 3 outs, and they're paying the price.
I mean, that's going to happen. I feel like that's part of it. There's things you can't control when you're on the mound that happen behind you. The only thing you can control is the next pitch.
Soriano jammed and fouls it away. Runner going, late throw, and falling down is Rizzo. He was trying to at least get into a rundown once he knew he was going to be out at second base.
Circle that play if the Nats come back and win this game, because Strasburg on the ropes, the Cubs just gave him an easy out.
Wow. Time to come back in this game, and no idea at all what Rizzo or the Cubs had in mind on that base running play. So we'll see how it all works out. The freight rail works due up. Shows that Ian Desmond against the Central, hitting just under 300, a lot of extra base hits. Danny Espinosa with extra base hits, and Tyler Moore. So 5, 6, and 7, bottom of the fifth against Edwin Jackson, who suddenly and shockingly has a 4-run lead, 2 of which he drove in. 55 pitches, 33 strikes.
I guess there was so much astonishment in my voice last, Eddie, because that's the best I've seen Strasburg in a long, long time, and all of a sudden things just changed, and now it's up to the offense to bail him out. They've been hitting the ball hard all day long, looking for some runs here against Edwin Jackson in the fifth.
Not sure if Luis Valbuena pulled something on that run around to third base, but Cody Ransom replaces him at third here in the fifth inning. Ian Desmond has the Nationals' only hit today. A hard double past the shortstop that rolled into the gap. That's a fastball that misses inside. Desmond in the air to left center. It is going and going and out of here. Ian Desmond with another home run. And there is a momentum shift possibly taking place here.
How locked in is number 20 right now with his 21st extra base hit of the year. His 6th home run of the year, 16th RBI for Desmond. Just got done saying there's been some hard hit balls in this baseball game, and none harder than this one off the bat of Ian Desmond. And he just thought his first time up, that double he hit to the left of Starlin Castro, if that ball was elevated, it was gone. This one was, and it was.
It's where the big guys hit him out there in those red seats. Danny Espinosa trying to drop one into left center. That ball's on the ground, base hit. Soriano made a good pickup. And I tell you, losing ball clubs do things to hurt themselves. And the Cubs let that inning end prematurely, and now they might pay the price. Next up, Tyler Moore. How about that? 2 swings, home run single.
Pretty good effort by Soriano right here, laying out for the ball club. Just a short hop into his glove. Give Paul Nowert some credit for hustling out there, getting that call right. And Danny Espinosa will take a million of those, folks.
Tyler Moore struck out swinging first time. Edwin got ahead of him and then got him off speed in the dirt. This strong young country boy from Mississippi could make this interesting in a hurry. Wow.
He got first pitch slider right here, was all over it. Just couldn't keep it fair, caught it out in front a hair as it backed up on Edwin Jackson.
That ball bounces. Espinosa almost broke. Down by 3. You better be sure. And Danny wasn't, so he retreated.
Yeah, well, and Castillo on that ball quick. Hit him in the chest protector. Bounced out there. Kept Espinosa at first. And you're right. Down by 3. Team swinging the bat. Make sure. And Espinosa wasn't.
Good take, 2-1.
And I think Tyler Moore A lot more patient the last couple nights. So much easier as a hitter to get into a count versus going up there hacking and being 0-2 all the time. And like we mentioned the first time of it, just the process of playing every day and getting used to making adjustments pitch by pitch, slowing the game down.
Moore with a tapper left side. They're going to take the shore out as Ransom goes to first, one down. Denny Espinosa into scoring position with Wilson Ramos coming up. Blues Travelers coming. It's the Nats Live free postgame concert series kickoff June 8th. It's right after a 4:05 game against the Twins. Game tickets starting at $10. Go to nationals.com/NatsLive. Some restrictions apply, and the only way to get into the concert is to have a ticket for the June 8th game against Minnesota. Chad Tracy next for Steven Strasburg. Maybe the only way Steven stays is if Ramos hits one out of the park here to make it a one-run game, but that inning took Steven Strasburg up to 95 pitches. 42 pitches in that inning. Wilson, bouncer back to the mound first time. 0 for 4 career against Edwin Jackson. It's a fastball right in on his label. Somehow didn't break the bat, and the count's 0-2. Boy, there are some horrible looking skies to our north up near Bethesda right now. In the clear here, cloudy conditions, but surrounded by some weather on this Saturday evening. No balls, 2 strikes. Ramos to short. Starling Castro thought about throwing to third. Espinosa scampered over there with the second out being made. And Chad Tracy will bat for Steven Strasburg, who does not give up an earned run in 5 innings. But he wasn't able to pitch out of that jam after the error. 2 men who walk scored. Strasburg struck out 7. And Chad Tracy now will try to make this game closer. Zach Duke's been warm for a while. Chad Tracy, by the way, against Edwin Jackson, 3 for 3 career with an RBI. And that ball to right center. It is being run down by David DeJesus, and the Nats are gone with only the Ian Desmond home run getting on the board here in the 5th. So on to the 6th. Ian Desmond on fire. 6 more total bases today. It's a 4-1 game. provides personal recommendations based on what shows you like to watch. Ian Desmond, the extent of the Nats offense today, 2 of the 3 hits, the only RBI. Edwin Jackson, a double, and he has held the Nats in check. And then Steven Strasburg, a tough 5th inning.
Yeah, what you don't see before this is an amazing relay from Espinoza to get it to 2 outs. And then Ryan Zimmerman with a throwing error. And then Darwin Barney coming into today. 153 was walked. And then Edwin Jackson works the count back to full. Knows he's getting a fastball and does some damage with a double to right center field. And Steven Strasburg, maybe like a lot of Nats fans, can't believe what happened right there.
So Zach Duke takes over. Alfonso Soriano up first, who was at the plate when Anthony Rizzo's base running ended the top of the 5th inning. Soriano against Zach Duke, 15 for 36 with 2 home runs. Zach, of course, with the Pirates for a number of years, so they've seen a lot of each other in the NL Central. Breaking ball, that one came up and got Wilson Ramos, and the count's even 1-1.
Yeah, and all that said, a long way to go in this baseball game, and now it's up to Zach Duke to keep it right where it's at and give his ball club a chance to jump right back in this ball game.
Breaking ball, and Soriano lashes that to the gap in right center. Look at these arms. Safe at second as Ian Desmond tried to take that glove and whip it around to tag out the runner, just not able to do it. Close.
They give Soriano credit right here, knowing that he's up by 3, trying to stretch a single into a double. Denard Span got over there quick, made a strong throw to Ian Desmond, just a little bit too far up the line for Desmond to come back and make the tag on a hustling Alfonso Soriano. You see the dive right here. Desmond trying to find that right hand of Soriano, but he was in there easily. Nice piece of hitting, a better piece of base run.
Nate Scherholtz 2 for 8 against Duke. Both for 2 today. Ground ball to first and a line drive to center. Each of the last 6 Cubs and 7 of the last 8 have made it on base with a hit or a walk. Base hit under Ryan Zimmerman's glove. Soriano will stop at third. Cubs have a corner situation, nobody out. And momentum just keeps going back and forth. Your mission, our commitment. Visit agilitycorp.com. And the Nats with the lowest bullpen earned run average this month, coming in 0.52 in a 7-1 May. Now Cody Ransom, who just replaced Luis Valbuena at third base. He has never faced Zach Duke. Washington at double play depth here. Top of the 6th, 4-1 game. Ryan Zimmerman would have the option of trying to turn 2 or come home based on the speed of a ground ball. That's a wild pitch. Cubs lead 5-1. Soriano scores. Scherholtz to second.
I don't think Wilson Ramos really had a chance on that right there. Short hop. right in front of the plate, bounced up, caught him in the left wrist, maybe even the thumb, and ricocheted all the way into the camera well on the third base side.
That ball well hit. Cubs are going to lead 6-1. Double, single, double with a wild pitch given up by Zach Duke. And a really clean ball game has gotten ugly in a hurry.
The Cubs with 7 doubles last night. And 3 make that 4 more here today.
Wow, what has taken place here? Wellington Castillo next, still nobody out. I mean, that box was empty for 4 innings. And really for just about 4 2/3. The Cubs have sent 10 straight men to the plate without having anybody retired. In terms of a hitter, the only out in there, the base running mistake by Anthony Rizzo. Only good news I can think of right now, the Giants has got 4 in the 5th and lead the Braves 6-1. That ball hits Wellington Castillo. He tried to get out of the way. Had nowhere to go. I think even on the Exmo, this one's going to hurt.
Yeah, right in the back of the calf. And I know if I'm sitting in the Nats bullpen today for the first 4 innings, I'm thinking I have the day off. There's no way I'm getting into this baseball game. Steven Strasburg's on cruise control. He's got no hit stuff. And all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose in the 5th. And the phone rings. You got to jump up and get hot. You're in a major league game. And I don't know that there's a lot of guys down there in that right field bullpen that were even thinking about pitching today. Minus maybe Rafael Soriano.
And Zach Duke hasn't pitched since April 30th. So he's been cold for a week and a half. And by the way, the Exmo brought to you by Verizon Fios. Supercharge your internet speeds with 100% fiber optic. Verizon Fios. Sky's getting darker. And I could swear as I look at the scoreboard, it looks darker than it did a couple of innings ago. So 2 on, nobody out. Darwin Barney has grounded out and walked. He was the man Steven Strasburg walked after the Zimmerman error prior to the Edwin Jackson 2-run double, and Barney came into that at bat. 1 for his last 25. Cubs, as soon as they've gotten somebody to scoring position today, they've been perfect. Nats need a ground ball right at somebody here. That one tails outside 2-0 with Ryan Matthews getting ready as quickly as he can. That ball is hammered to center. Denard Span going back. He has to drift with it at the last second with the wind blowing toward right. And that'll move the runner from second to third base. Good late second adjustment by Denard Span to make that grab.
And pretty good hack by Darwin Barney right there, sending a Denard Span all the way to the warning track. And the wind has shifted, kind of blowing in actually all of a sudden, and that kept this ball in the park. Barney gave it a ride. Denard Span to the deepest part out there in center field. Good adjustment, as you said, to make the play.
It's a great lesson for outfielders to sprint toward where you think the ball is. If he just cruises to that one FP, maybe he doesn't get there.
Well, what you do as a center fielder is you pick a spot, and you can take your eye off the baseball. Because if you look at it the whole way, sometimes it slows you down. So when the ball's hit well, you hear the sound off the bat, you pick a spot and run to it where you think it is. Look up as you're running at the last second and track it down.
Edwin Jackson showing bunt there for a second. Cody Ransom came down the line a bit from third. Strike one call. David Bell, their third base coach, son of Buddy Bell, good baseball man. He's been working in the Reds organization the last few years and coaching third here for Dale Swayman, bouncing some of those signals around. That's a safety squeeze. So the runner stays at third, but Wellington Castillo goes to second. Sacrifice 1-4.
Ransom had some ideas of coming home right there. Zach Duke bounced off the mound and got to the ball quickly to hold up Ransom, but I don't think he checked him before he threw it to first.
Top of the order, David DeJesus walked last time up.
I think you made a point earlier in the game about the start time today and having to deal with shadows, and I don't think that's going to be a factor with the clouds moving in, and that's conducive to offense, and still a lot of game to be played. I feel like this is a big sequence right now here and a big part of this ball game to keep it at 5.
Yeah, the Nats still have 4 frames with the bats. 1-0 pitch. Fastball tails down and in. Top of the order, by the way, coming in the 6th.
You got to feel like this is Zach Duke's last hitter, and it'll be Ryan Matthews versus Starlin Castro if DeJesus climbs aboard.
Up the middle, and Danny Espinosa can't get it. 2 more runs for the Cubs. They have scored 6 of their 8 runs with 2 outs.
They fall behind 2-0. DeJesus had 4 good at-bats today. Hit the ball hard his first 2 times up, walked his last time up, and now has something to show right here in the 6th inning. A little chopper up the middle. Espinosa reaching out there. Tried to keep it in the infield and tried to keep his feet to make that quick throw back to first base. He knew if he dove, he's safe because of his speed, so he tried to stay on his feet, glove it, and use the big arm, and couldn't come up with it, and that's going to be all for Zach Duke.
Who gets 2/3 of an inning against 7 hitters, hit a batter, gave up 4 hits, and could be responsible for another run. This call to the bullpen packaged by the UPS store. We love logistics. I mean, this ballpark is shocked 8-1. Available at the main team store for 50% off. It's Majestic's Authentic Collection Featherweight Fleece. Go to nationals.com/store for more store information. That's while supplies last. Some restrictions apply, and I'm assuming they're selling a ton of those this weekend. Ryan Matthews. Last appearance, 7th inning against the Tigers Thursday night. Pretty impressive. 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Did not give up a run. Starlin Castro, first pitch hacking. That ball is being pushed by the breeze. I mean, that thing got out there and made almost a perfect right turn away from Roger Bernardino. Castro 1 for 2 with a double career against Ryan Matthews.
A pretty cool moment in that game when he struck out Miguel Cabrera. On the 4th, Cabrera looked out at Ryan Matthews as soon as he tried to hold his swing up and said, "Good pitch." How often do you see that?
Yeah, because you got to get the guy out before he says something like that.
Well, guys,
Ryan goes with the breaking ball there.
Well, guys usually don't do that, regardless if it's a good pitch or not. You have a Triple Crown winner like Miguel Cabrera. Kind of a tip of the cap to Ryan Matthews.
Yeah. Yeah, who's more qualified to identify a good pitch than him right now?
Right. And that's got to give you confidence if you're Matthews. And you can see right there it has.
Ryan Matthews strikes out Starlin Castro. The Cubs pick up 4 more runs. In the road team's favor, indicating this game of baseball once again. We learned this lesson many times during the year and over the years. You can do one fundamental thing wrong, and when you do that, it can snowball into several things, and all of a sudden, look out.
I mean, yeah, but that's part of baseball. You're going to do things wrong on defense. You're going to make errors, and you know it's unfortunate that it unraveled that quickly for the Nationals. And you know, I haven't seen something like that happen in a long time, to where it goes from one of the best games you've seen pitched in a while to all of a sudden a major scuffle for everybody involved.
Edwin Jackson, 67th pitch of the day. Leading off, Denard Span, bottom 6. Little flare, unreachable. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nationals box score, Ian Desmond. Double in the second with 1 out, leadoff homer in the 4th. Denny Espinosa followed that home run with a base hit, and the Nats were only down by 3. And now 4 runs later, it's a big deficit again. Two and one. The longest Edwin Jackson has gone in any game this year, 6 innings, 3 times. Most recently at Miami, April 25th. He'd gone 4 2/3 against San Diego and 5 against Cincinnati at home his last 2 starts. But he didn't have a cushion like this.
Obviously, the veteran Edwin Jackson knows what to do with a 7-run lead. He's just going to pound the strike zone. Let the Nationals put it in play. And on the Nationals side, you're just trying to load the bases up, get base runners, and keep competing.
They won it up. Span back to Jackson. Good reaction with the backhand. And he fires it to Rizzo for the first out. Let's check in with Julie.
Hey guys, I was having a little chat with Edwin Jackson before the game yesterday, and he said he's really glad to be back here in Washington, his old stomping grounds. He said he was able to catch up with a few of the guys yesterday, and he was looking forward to a fun series. And I asked if he felt he had a little advantage because he knows them so well, and he said, hey, I know them, they know me, but once the game starts, it's all about who can execute. Davey Johnson said, yeah, it's good to have him back. Doesn't mean I'm going to go up and hug the guy. I'm sure he's certainly not now after that 2-run double he just had in.
Yeah, combined with the good pitching he's had today, 1 run on 3 hits.
Well, I want to tell you why the Davey Johnson and the Nationals respect Edwin Jackson, and every team he's been on respects him, is because whether he's got his A stuff or his B stuff or his C stuff, he's going to compete and he's going to give you innings regardless of how it looks. I mean, there was times last year when he was getting his head kicked in. He said, no, I got this. I want to save the bullpen, because he felt bad that Davey had to cut to his pen so early in the game. And it's the one thing you're going to get from Edwin Jackson every 5th day, is a guy that goes out there and competes regardless of the stuff. And I think he's done a nice job of that here today. Just 1 run on 3 hits, and really hasn't had the slider. 2-seam fastball cutter have been nice for him. He's in the strike zone primarily. There's been some hard hit baseballs, but he will compete. Always has, always will.
Nats need runners. It's 3-0 to Bernardina. And they will take that 1-out walk here in the 6th inning with Zimmerman and LaRoche coming up. That's Edwin Jackson's first walk today. Here first, Blue Cross Blue Shield. $50 to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington, D.C. every time the Nats draw a walk. Take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Closer and closer to $5,000 on the season. Zimmerman has drawn 11 of those. Short lead by Bernardina. One side of the plate to the other. Good pitch by Edwin Jackson. Ryan today, a bouncer back to the pitcher. And on a low pitch, he hit a line drive right at Nate Scherholtz in right field. Wind still blowing that way.
And that's just trying to get into the Cubs bullpen any way they can. Not counting last night, over their last 9 games, the Cubs bullpen coming into this series with a 6.75 ERA. Giving up 25 hits, 17 walks, hit 5 batters over the last 22 2/3. So yeah, 7-run deficit. Long way to go in this game, and trying to find a way to get in that bullpen.
1-2 the count. Another bouncer smothered by Wellington Castillo. Long first inning, and that was a 1-2-3. But that 18 pitches thanks to the first AB of Denard Span. Fouled off a bunch of pitches, full count, finally flied out. Target in on 2-2. Umpire set up inside. Catcher set up inside. That's right where the pitch went. Ball 3. Well, you got to battle your way back. Adam LaRoche would love to be in there with 2 men on. And with Bernardino holding, that was close. And what a good eye by Ryan Zimmerman to draw another walk. Nissan will track it.
I mean, 7-run lead. If you're Edwin Jackson, you got to pound the zone. You can't be putting guys on for free. And the Nats will take 2 free base runners in a row here in the bottom of the 6th. That's exactly how you jump it back into a baseball game when you're down by 7.
Sean Camp throwing. Appeared in the ball game last night. Chris Bosio, the Cubs pitching coach, may have a question about 2 walks with a 7-run lead. I mean, Edwin knows that he did the wrong thing there. And now he'll face Adam LaRoche. Might be time for Adam to get a fly ball hooking toward that bullpen out there and finally get that thing out of here. He's starting to show signs of driving the ball for extra bases. He has pulled it on the ground and lined hard to left. 3 lucky winners will get a meet and greet with Gio. It's Masson's meet and greet giveaway. Visit Facebook.com/Masson Nationals. Click on Enter Sweepstakes. Your chance to win. You can enter once per day. Gio goes tomorrow.
You don't get to just meet Gio. You can stay at his apartment for a week.
And that's on top of the car you said he'd buy for you, right?
Yeah. You can buy everybody a car and you can stay at his place for a week.
You know, he may be the most congenial major leaguer I've ever met, but he's not that friendly. 1-0 to LaRoche. 0 for 5 career against Jackson. One ball, 1 strike. That's a fastball in there at 94. So Edwin's velocity today a little higher than we had been hearing about in his last few starts.
Now supposed to be on the inner half, ran it to the outer half. Got the call. So Chris Bosio to the mound, tightening up Edwin Jackson back in the strike zone here ahead of Adam LaRoche, 1-2.
Ad bounces. He's bounced 4 or 5 pitches today. Count back even, 2-2.
He hasn't really had secondary pitches today, though. It's all been fastball, whether it's a 2-seamer, which we didn't see a whole lot of last year. He'll do that from time to time when he doesn't have his velocity. But it's been 3 different heaters from Edwin Jackson. 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball, cutter here today. Slider, curveball, change have really been non-existent.
2-2 with 1 out.
Danger lurking on deck, too, if Adam LaRoche can load him up for number 20.
That is for sure. Edwin slowing things down with 2 men aboard here. And a 2-2 pitch. Outside.
Big pitch coming.
Big gap left center. LaRoche has been hitting the ball that way recently. Target is in. Adam, base hit right field. Bernardina held at third by Trent Jewett. You have to. Down big with one out, and Scherholtz got to that ball in a hurry. And here comes Ian Desmond, and Adam LaRoche has an 8-game hitting streak.
Yeah, pulled an outside pitch right there. Hit it hard to the right side. Bases are loaded right now. For a guy that was a triple shy of the cycle last night, today it's all he's done is a double and a home run. And that's going to do it for Edwin Jackson.
He will go 5 1/3 with a 7-run lead. I mean, did he look that vulnerable that quickly? This will be interesting, especially as FP noted, considering the state of the Cubs bullpen. From under all these ominous looking clouds raining to the north of us, but really good here. And remember our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donating $250 to the Children's National Medical Center every time the Nationals hit a home run. Ian Desmond, number 6 today. The Nats have hit 33. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
We'll call this little video channel your inner tater. Not easy to say, but you know what I'm trying to get to right here. Ian Desmond with his 6th home run of the year. Channeling taters. You see the truck working.
Sean Kemp is the pitcher, and last night in the 8th inning he bounced out Ian Desmond to third base. So Desmond is 0 for 2 career against him. Bases loaded, 1 out. Big time chance for the Nationals here in the 6th to get back in this game. Slipped 86 by him on the first delivery.
He tries to get strike 1 with the fastball, then he'll go to the slider. He throws it over half the time. Saw the fastball right there, 3/4, 86. The slider, 78, 79.
Ian Desmond, 2 for 2, double homer, batting .297. '86 again, outside edge.
Well, Desmond didn't like the call. Bottom of the zone on the outer half. You swing at this, it's a ground ball. I mean, you have to take it as a hitter. And Kemp got the call. Now got a battle down 0-2.
He ID'd the slider. Sean Kemp, 37 years of age. 80 games for the Cubs last year. Tied for the major league lead. He pitched 78 innings. Long time in the American League. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Toronto. On a pitch up. Desmond ripping.
Not shortening up with 2 strikes, is he? 5 for 6, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, have a series.
Big crowd trying to exhort the home team to get back in this one. Desmond base hit left field. Bernardina scores. Zimmerman stops at third. The line's moving. We'll see if they can keep it so. Ian Desmond now has in this series 5 runs batted in.
Good AB right there by Ian Desmond. Obviously 2 strikes. Feeling it at the plate. And down by 7. Trent Jewett had to stop. Ryan Zimmerman at third base, and you called it. Line is moving.
Next up, Danny Espinosa, who last night in the 8th inning bounced out to first against Camp, 0 for 2 career. Danny's 1 for 2 today with a base hit to left center. Good news about the sun coming out now is that the infield is pretty much shaded. Batter's eye is in the sun out in center field.
And the wind is blowing straight down.
It has stopped. What a crazy day. In the sky and on the scoreboard. A pitch up, evidently outer edge, counts even 1-1.
Yeah, that's the fastball right there, and it looked like it was away. And Doug Eddings liked it, and Danny Espinosa didn't.
Wow. That's a big pitch. Bases loaded, could have gone to 2-0. And he goes real soft off speed, 82.
And with a changeup right there for strike 2.
Nats down by 6, but they've scored in 2 consecutive innings. Cubs only left-hander James Russell in their bullpen. Interesting with right-handed hitters coming up. Espinosa strikes out, 2 down. Soft and then softer. That'll bring in Tyler Moore, who Camp also retired last night. Fly ball to right field. Tyler 0 for 2 today with a strikeout, a ground ball. Got to get some 2-out contact here and hope he can drop one in to get the Nats back to within 4.
You saw the sequence to Desmond. It was fastballs away early in the count to try to get to a slider away. See if he goes right to that slider. Just starts with a fastball at 86 on the outer half.
Moore tries to pull it. That's an easy out at third base. Nats loaded the bases with 1 out. Ian Desmond, the only guy doing damage right now. It's 8-2 Chicago.
gone for everybody involved. Go to the top of the 7th, 8-2 Cubs. And just like we promised earlier in the game, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And we're going to go relays 101 right here. Luis Valbuena with a ball down the corner. Bernardina down there quick, hits Espinoza right on the money. The big arm of Danny Espinoza right to Ryan Zimmerman at third base for the 9-4-5 putout. And as good a relay as you'll ever see at the major league level. Strasburg approved.
Yuri Perez called up today to replace Jason Worth, who went on the DL, and Yuri was hitting .346 at Syracuse. So Davey will give him some playing time, give Denard Span a breather here. And Yuri was on a 9-game hitting streak. So that's a straight up switch in the #1 spot as Ryan Matthews stays in the game. By the way, Davey Johnson and Mike Rizzo really like Yuri Perez. He can play all 3 outfield positions. A natural center fielder. Great speed. He can pinch hit. He can pinch run. Another nice little right-handed bat off that bench when you need him.
And doing well in Syracuse this year, hitting .346, 37 for 107, 5 doubles, a triple, a home run, a .352 on base percentage. Stole 7 bases, got caught once, so yeah, hot hitter. He's ready, call him up. Oh, wait.
We did.
Yep.
PNC Bank for the Achiever in you, and there's everything pretty much we just talked about. So that hitting streak, red hot. Yuri Perez is 22 years of age. He'll have a birthday in 19 days, so a happy early birthday. He's from San Luis of the Dominican Republic, and he signed with the Nats at the age of 16 back in '07. 6+ years in the minors, 226 stolen bases. And he's always hit right around 300 almost everywhere he's been. That's a good looking swing. How good is Anthony Rizzo swinging it right now? He's 3 for 4 today. Perez comes in the game. The ball finds him in left center.
Well, that swing right there by Anthony Rizzo reminds me of a former Cub first baseman, Mark Grace. Not a whole lot to that. Just slapping it out there to left field. Take what they give you. And watch how low the hands are, how short the swing is, and just smoothing it out there to left center field. Not a whole lot to it. Head down to the ball. Looked like Gracie.
Alfonso Soriano, leadoff double last inning. Got that Cubs 4-run rally started that really got them in control of this game. Ryan Matthews has come out, thrown a couple of breaking balls. Ended the 6th inning, striking out Starlin Castro. Alfonso Soriano 1 for 2 against him with a home run. Third base, under the glove of Ryan Zimmerman. And that could be his 2nd error of the day. Ball hit sharply. That'll be Ryan's 2nd error and 7th of the year.
Yeah, ball hit hard right here by Alfonso Soriano. But the glove part of it has never been a problem for Ryan Zimmerman right there. Got an in-between hop. 2nd error of the day.
Nationals' 29th error of the year. The Cubs have made the most in the major leagues, 30.
In those 30 errors the Cubs have made have led to 19 unearned runs. It's tied for the lead in the big leagues.
Nats have 123 now, counting the 4 today. Pardon me, not a difference of 14 between the runs and earned runs. So 14, now 18 by the Nats. And that ball is hit off to the left side. by Nate Sherholtz.
And Sherholtz kind of revamping his stance in the offseason to get more on his legs. To be a little more compact up there with less movement. And the results have been good early in the season. 297, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. And he's tied for 8th in the National League with 16 extra base hits. Remember him last year, he just standing straight up for the Phillies and the Giants.
That ball lined out to Tyler Moore, who grabs it in left field for the first out. That'll bring in Cody Ransom, who replaced Luis Valbuena at third base. And then last time up, doubled a run in that 4-run 6th. Nationals Park, where the Cubs are 6 out of 8 with runners in scoring position. Been a frustrating game to watch as it really changed in the 5th inning. It went from 0-0 to 4-0 to 4-1 to 8-1. And now 8-2. .37-year-old Cody Ransom, 0 for 11 in 13, actually 5 games in the 13 season for the Padres before they put him on waivers. Hector Rondon throwing for the Cubs. Nats have Ramos and then the pitcher spot due up, followed by Yuri Perez in the 7th. Still a long way to go in this game, but the Nats have to put some zeros up on that board. Zimmerman, Espinosa, 5-4-3, and Danny did a great job of hanging in there with Alfonso Soriano bearing down on him. Pretty double play around the horn.
Yeah, get some air, Danny Espinosa, because Soriano is coming to get you. Still playing hard. Nice turn of the double play. Ryan Matthews with the ground ball, and that's what he's known for.
7th inning stretch brought to you by Hyundai's Easy Decision event. Visit your Washington area Hyundai dealers this weekend. Nats have 8-9-1 coming up. And MLB.TV celebrating 11 years. Millions of fans have subscribed. Join them. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. And don't forget about MLB.TV Premium HD quality on your connected device. Wilson Ramos, strike one. So Ryan Matthews settles down the ball game out of the Nats bullpen. Steve Lombardozzi is next for Matthews before Yuri Perez. Wilson Ramos today, ground ball to the pitcher, 1 to short. 0-2 to Ramos. He's gone. Bottom of the 7th underway. And a chance for Steve Lombardozzi here.
We're kind of closing the book on the Strasburg outing today, Carp. I feel like, for a guy with a handful of starts at the minor league level that never has really experienced any kind of adversity other than, obviously the big arm surgery. I'm talking about on the field in the course of battle, to where this is a tough place to learn how to do that. And when you haven't had the minor league, say from a hitter standpoint, to know how to get out of a 1-for-25 slump, an A ball with 100 people watching, and go on a backfield and figure things out. When you just jump right into a big league scenario and have had nothing but success, this is a tough place to learn on the fly.
That's a fair ball. Lombardozzi with a pinch hit. And for Steve, his 5th pinch hit of the year. He's digging for 3, and he'll make it easily. Lombardozzi with his first triple this year. Perfectly placed. And that's the 4th triple of his major league career.
Yeah, well placed right down the right field line, and got to second base and didn't even hesitate. So Lombardozzi off the bench making something happen once again for the Nationals with a triple down in the right field corner. Be your own base coach, look over your shoulder, know where the ball's at, made that decision all on his own. Nice job hustling into third.
That Exmo's amazing. Look at the little pebbles of dirt flying. Kept his eyes open during that whole sequence, at least till the very end. And here's Yuri Perez, who as a big league hitter is 1 for 5 in 13 games last year.
And wrapping up my point is the fact that we all forget how young he still is and how he's still learning at the highest level. And there'll be a time, I think, in the very near future when, with whatever happens behind him, won't affect him, and he'll figure out ways to get out of jams. And it's just a matter of experience. And been there, done that sort of a thing. But a lot of similar things happened to Tim Lincecum in San Francisco, to where he didn't spend a lot of time in the minors league, had tons of success at the major league level, and the first time you have a rough go of it, it's a tough place to learn, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make.
No, absolutely.
On the big stage. But he will. And I don't think any of us are worried, because the stuff he had for 4 innings today was just incredible.
Roger Bernardina needs a 2-out hit here to get the Nats on the board and within 5 runs. Roger 0 for 2, walk, a run scored. 1 RBI this year. That ball driven to left center. And De Jesus will catch it in the gap, and the Nats are gone. 1-out triple. Lombardozzi stranded. On to the 8th. Chicago on top, 8-2.
happy place or just build one with Yellowwood brand pressure treated pine. If it doesn't have the yellow tag, you don't want it. And the Cubs have been hitting a lot of doubles with their wood this series. 11 so far, 7 last night, 4 today. And I don't think their bats are made of pine. I would say ash and maple. And they've been swinging it here in D.C.
Henry Rodriguez, 11th appearance of the year. He has been scored upon in 3 of his 10 appearances, but in 9 2/3 innings, 9 walks. Following pretty much his career pattern, hard to hit. .211 is the opponent's batting average against career. .147 this year.
Well, his fastball average has dropped a little bit this year, but I feel like that's okay. There's a couple natted dudes still hanging tough at this ball game. Thinking about a comeback. Fastballs average 96 miles an hour this year, and almost averaged 98 last year. And he's been throwing the changeup a lot more and sped up his delivery. Has been in the strike zone for the majority of this year. Yeah, umbrellas, sunglasses. Everybody here confused with the weather today. Yep, sunglasses, poncho, sunglasses, umbrella.
Henry to Castillo. First pitch swinging, late for 97. How to play. Good crowd again today. 37,000 plus again. 3-7-1-1-6. So the first 2 games of this series draw over 74,300. Big slider and a big miss. 1 out, 8th inning. Going to bring in Darwin Barney. Toyota K's for Kids. $37 to the Children's National Medical Center. The Children's Inn at NIH. At the National Institutes of Health. Every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. So thanks to our D.C. area Toyota dealers. Pretty good jammage right there for the foul ball to Darwin Barney.
It's pretty good on the scale. I don't remember.
Did I say pretty good?
Yeah.
That's just under serious. And then severe is the absolute best.
Well, you're sitting next to a hitter. There is no such thing as pretty good jammage.
Well, that only means the bat still isn't broken. Severe has to be a broken bat and an easy out.
Yeah. And pine tar in the baseball.
Meaning down by the trademark, huh?
Uh-huh.
Hector Rondon for the bottom of the 8th. Zimmerman, LaRoche, Desmond, the do-ups. Boy, he fought that one off, didn't he?
Let me guess, double?
Might have some pine tar on it. Darwin Barney, a walk earlier, a run scored. That was a huge walk back in the 5th inning. And now he has an extra base hit, his 2nd hit of this series.
And a 12th double in 2 games for the Cubs.
You know, the funny thing about when you play at Wrigley Field, the doubles are down the lines because it's like 350 down the lines there and only like 365, 370 to the gaps. But this is a more traditional ballpark in terms of the dimensions. Wrigley has its quirks, but it's shallow in the gaps. That's where most of the home runs end up.
Well, Darwin Barney's been scuffling this year, but I felt like he found something his last at-bat. Hit a deep fly ball to center field, had a reaction coming around first to his first base coach, Dave McKay, and I don't know if he was frustrated with the out or he figured something out, but it was a real aggressive swing, and you saw the results right there. His next at-bat doubled down the line, and it's only a matter of time before that guy figures it out.
That ball is hit hard, And right there is Roger Bernardina. Never an easy catch when you got to go backhand right at the end. 2 outs.
And pretty good hack right here. Low line drive. Bernardina coming in. Cubs don't get cheated.
Top of the order, David De Jesus. 2-run single last time. That was the real dagger in that 4-run 6th inning. Came with 2 outs, giving them 6 of their 8 runs today after 2 outs. All 4 in the 5th, unearned, and then the 2 in the 6th. Henry, for the most part, throwing strikes here. .90, tailing away.
Changeup?
Yeah, how about that? 2 guys on the staff with 90-mile-an-hour changeups.
Just got inside of this, let it feed to the outer half of the plate to a pull swing. Geared up for 98, got 90. Good pitch.
.100, just missing.
See triple digits one more time. Tried to shave off that front corner of the plate, just missed with 100.
Like Wilson Ramos felt it in his glove before he actually looked down to spot it.
Seeing triple digits never gets old unless you're the guy standing in the box.
Barney at second, 2 outs. That is serious damage. And an out for Espinosa. So the bottom of the 8th rolls around. Zimmerman, LaRoche, and the red-hot Ian Desmond. Last time a National hit for a cycle, Thursday, August 28th, 2008. Kristen Guzman homered first inning, singled second inning. Those were against Clayton Kershaw. A double in the 6th, and in his 5th at bat in the 8th inning, he tripled to the gap in left center. Sean Kemp couldn't do anything about it, or Matt Kemp. And that was a 4-for-5 day, first national to hit for the cycle since April 6th of 05, when Brad Wilkerson did it in the Nationals' second ever ball game.
It didn't look like there was a lot of people here to witness it, but
let's see. The crowd that night was announced at 26,338. But the Nats knocked Clayton Kershaw out of that game after 2 1/3 innings. Guzman had 13 hits in that series against the Dodgers. How crazy is that? All right, here's Hector Rondon, Zimmerman, LaRoche, and Desmond.
It's a good month.
08, those were the good old days.
How many times back-to-back nights do you have a chance for a cycle in the big leagues?
That is some kind of crazy. Of course, 08 was the first time the Nationals won 59 games. And you know who they drafted after that? Today's starter. Ryan Zimmerman 0 for 2 with a walk. Rondon throws one in there. Appeared in the ball game last night, 6th inning. Flew out Suzuki, grounded out Ross Detwiler, and grounded out Denard Span. Target in. Zimmerman jammed, and he'll fight it off for a ball caught by Rizzo and then dropped. Or did he? No, he kept control. Ball never got to the ground. Anthony Rizzo makes a tough play.
I mean, talk about some range for a first baseman. He compared his last swing to Mark Grace's, and Mark Grace with a bunch of gold gloves at first base, and I don't think even he gets to this baseball. Look at Rizzo run right here. A little bobble, stays with it. What an athletic play, all with the glove. Watch the ball come out, and on the way down, re-secure it with his glove. Great play right there by Anthony Rizzo, and I'd be smiling too.
Yeah, not a bad day. That on the heels of 3 hits and 2 RBIs. Here's Adam LaRoche. Adam LaRoche 1 for 3, and this one high in the air, right center. Darwin Barney in the short right field will make the grab, 2 outs. Potomac Nationals back at Fitzner Stadium through the 16th. Dollar Monday includes dogs and tickets, and then there's all you can eat Wednesday. Head to PotomacNationals.com and check out the P-Nats right down the road in Woodbridge.
What can you eat what? Everything on the menu?
I would think so.
Even the expensive stuff? Like double cheeseburgers? All at 7? I know I'm asking you questions you don't know, but it's still curious.
Yeah, my mind's spinning.
Sorry, I know what that's like.
Mind spinning.
Happened to me recently.
Once?
Yeah. On TV.
Ian Desmond came in hitting .287. He's at .302 now, and having a huge series against the Cubs. They get jammed on that one, and it goes foul. 3 for 4 last night. Single, homer, double. Today he's gone double, homer, single. The only thing rarer than a cycle is the natural cycle, when you do it in order starting with a single. That's almost unheard of. I think in all my years I've seen 1.
I don't know if there were too many natural cycles in the 90s.
0-2 pitch. Desmond, swing and a miss, can't reach the high heat. So he will be 6 of 8 in the series. Nationals baseball on Masson, brought to you by University of Maryland University College. So kind of a overcast day on South Capitol Street and here at Nationals Park. Cubs big into the ninth. For the first time tomorrow. Last three starts, he's got a 1.59 ERA and 3-0. And for the season, 3-3 for the Cubs. Gio won his last start at Pittsburgh. Tough start, settled down, 2 earned runs in 6 innings. He'll be looking for his 4th of the year. 1 o'clock, Nats Extra. Johnny and Ray here at the ballpark. 1:30 from the booth. First pitch from Gio. 1:35. And unless the Nats have a 9th inning explosion this evening, that'll be a rubber game tomorrow. Henry Rodriguez, another inning of work. He'll face Starlin Castro here. Anthony Rizzo and Alfonso Soriano to follow. Fastball at 98 low. Castro, 3 punch-outs today. Infield hit back in the 5th. Well, it looks like the Nats will not lose any ground to the Braves, who are being hammered at San Francisco. 10-1. Giants just put a 4 spot on the board in the 8th inning. And had 2 4-run innings today, like the Cubs have had here. That's 98 in there. 2-1. Cliff Lee for the Phillies tonight at Arizona. And Kevin Slowey for the Marlins at L.A. Mets have been beaten today soundly by the Pirates, 11-2. And that's the Eastern Division for you. Counts even 2-2. Defensive swing to stay alive by a good hitter.
So big West Coast swing. You're packing tonight. You can bring your surfboard. What do you got? Going to LA.
I don't even have surfing shorts.
You got board shorts?
No.
Come on. Speedo for the pool?
Our idea of surfing in the Midwest was wading in for some crappie or bass.
See you out by the hotel pool in your Speedo, catching some rays in LA.
You know, this afternoon's tough enough without some of these disturbing visuals you're bringing up. You're not cheering me up a whole lot.
Hey, they've won 5 in a row. They're playing good baseball. Just got away today. No need to panic. It's baseball.
3-2 pitch.
There it goes.
Danny Espinosa for the 2-hopper. Henry's retired for the 5 he's faced.
It's time for your Kia drive of the game. And we're going to go back to the big Edwin Jackson at bat. Top of the 5th inning, 3-2 count, and Art Span gave it a go. Just ran out of room in the right center field gap. That ball was tailing away from Span the whole way, and a big at-bat for Edwin Jackson, helping himself out. Drive of the Game is brought to you by Kia. Visit kia.com to learn why Kia is one of the fastest-growing car brands in America.
Anthony Rizzo, 3 consecutive hits. So in this series, he's 5 for 8, all singles. Fastball just missing away.
I mean, I did think there was a chance the Nationals were going to go undefeated after the Davey Johnson meeting in Pittsburgh the other day. And they still got 3 outs to play with. You never know.
Two balls and a strike from Henry Rodriguez to Anthony Rizzo. High fastball. Good luck catching up with that. 99.
99 miles an hour. I like the second half of the Exmo like that. Sometimes those replays are so long, I just run out of stuff to say. Choking up with 2 strikes.
Now that's refreshing. Today's copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals.
Triple digits for the second time from Henry Rodriguez here. This time on the inner half, Rizzo got a piece.
Swinging a foul tip, 89, the changeup.
Pretty good one at that. Late movement down and away, and I don't know how he got a piece of that one, but he stays alive.
Well, he's up a couple, but 3-4 inches on that bat handle, and at least able to control that thing to get a piece of some of these fastballs and an off-speed pitch. How many guys do we see, FP, who just don't make any adjustments at all?
Well, his hands are right in the strike zone almost. He carries them so low, there's not a long way to go. He's right around his belt, and he's just got to fire him straight down, and that's the big adjustment he's made since he was a Padre.
Look at that. Desmond, dazzling play. Out at first. Well struck. Better played by the shortstop.
Another good swing off the bat of Anthony Rizzo. Takes it right back up the middle. Battled Henry Rodriguez, but watch Ian Desmond doing it all in this series. Offensively, defensively, glove up the middle, spin move, strong throw to get Rizzo's smelling another knock. Great play. Just watch the arm strength and picking up your target. When you do that spin move inside as a shortstop, there's a tendency to everything's moving real fast, and if you throw before you shuffle and gather yourself, a lot of times you miss your target. But you saw Ian Desmond right there, knowing the speed of the runner, knowing how hard the ball was hit, taking that extra shuffle after his spin move to pick up LaRoche and make a strong throw right on the money.
Alfonso Soriano 1 for 4 today. Double opposite field. Got their 4-run 6th inning rally started. He's 1 for 8 in the series with 4 strikeouts. Next year will be the final guaranteed year of that big contract he signed with the Cubs. That ball is hooked into the left field corner. It's another
double.
Yep.
Chicago Dubs. I'm losing track. 13 in 2 games. Well, last year the Nats hit 15 home runs in the 4-game series against the Cubs here at Nats Park, and the Cubs are dropping some doubles here in the first 2 games.
Glad to have our new broadcast partner, WUSA 9, with us today. And tomorrow they'll be right back with us. Bring your Natitude for the final game of the series. Game time 1:30, Nats Extra at 1. And as they say at WUSA 9, game on.
Sorry, sleep at the wheel.
Nate Scherholtz 1 for 4, and he's hit the ball hard 3 times. He's lined out to Span, singled to left field, lined out to Tyler Moore.
First pitch changeup for a strike.
Took a little bit off of that, 86. Wow, if he throws him a fastball now, it'll look like it's 105.
And it might be.
Top of the 9th, runner at second, 2 outs. Cubs lead 8-2. Another changeup. Struck him out on 3. How about that? Henry works 2 innings, gives up 2 hits, no runs. Good outing for him. Espinosa, your 9th inning leadoff man.
Park. Johnny Holiday along with Ray Knight will be along with our Nats Extra postgame show in just a couple of minutes. This has been a very interesting ball game.
You know, tale of 2 cities, buddy. Golly,
really?
I've never seen Stephen more dominant. 42 out of 50 pitches were strikes in the first 4 innings after he threw the first 3 balls. At one point, 21 out of 22 strikes. Just had him eating out of his hand. Then an error with 2 outs, and he only throws 54% strikes, 42 pitches in that 1 inning. Sometimes the pitcher has to pick up the defensive guy. You know, it just 8 unruns this year, leads all of major leagues with Steven out there. So there's been some errors behind me, but you got to pick them up every once in a while.
Plenty of things to talk about when we come along with our Nats Extra postgame, plus a very special appearance from Bob and FP on Nats Extra. Let's go back to the guys in the booth upstairs.
All right, Johnny, in every appearance by you and Ray, more than special to us. Bottom of the 9th inning, Danny Espinosa, Tyler Moore, and Wilson Ramos. As Anthony, pardon me, I almost said Anthony Rendon for the Cubs. It is Hector Rondon for the Cubs. We have not traded our outstanding young infielder, and it'll be Espinosa, 1 for 3, leading off here.
That'd be good for a 7-run 9th if he was out there.
Yes, it would. I don't know. He's got a good arm.
He does.
He'd be serving it up, though, for our ball club.
To Johnny's special appearance point, I think it would be special if we didn't add extra after a win. That would be special.
Yeah, they do call on us for the sad stories.
Yeah, spincontrol.com up here.
They don't need us. They don't need us some of those other times. We understand that. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's just inside. 2-1 to Danny Espinosa. Braves are batting in the top of the ninth. That's San Francisco with 2 outs, and that game now goes final. Giants win it 10-1. So when the Nats take the field tomorrow, they'll still be 1 game behind the Braves. Giants right now sitting on top of the West with the Diamondbacks, who've won 5 in a row. They'll be hosting the Phillies tonight.
And the Dodgers in last 7 games out at 13-21. Let's talk about Zach Greinke throwing that Wednesday game against the Nationals.
That ball is off of his hands, and it'll carry out to Soriano. 4 straight for Rondon. Cubs bullpen hasn't given up a run. They did allow an inherited runner to score. And by the way, for the Dodgers series, Jordan Zimmerman, Josh Beckett, Monday night. Beckett's 0-4. With a 5.13 ERA. Dan Herron, Clayton Kershaw Tuesday. And then we'll see who pitches against Ross Detweiler Wednesday. And that would leave Steven Strasburg in line to pitch in his hometown Thursday night when the Nats open up a 4-game series in San Diego. Tyler Moore 0 for 3.
Boy, I can think of worse places to have a 4-game series in San Diego.
The Padres are kind of hanging in there. They're only 4.5 games out of first place. San Diego is 16-19, not off to the disastrous start everybody thought they might be. That's been reserved for the Dodgers. One ball and 2 strikes to Tyler Moore. Wilson Ramos on deck here in the bottom of the 9th. And a swing and a miss, 2 outs. Crazy weather around the area. This one has gone uninterrupted today. But something weird came blowing into this ballpark in the top of the 5th inning. So here's Wilson Ramos, is 0 for 3. Fastball whistles inside, 1-1. Nats about to fall to 20-16 and have their 5-game winning streak ended. But the big picture in the standings, everything looking okay, trailing Atlanta. He did, says Doug Eddings. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So the Cubs are 1 strike away from their 14th win of the year. They'd lost 6 of their last 8 coming in. And Ramos reaching to pull that one. Cody Ransom up with it. Game over. Takes well over 3 hours. And the Cubs draw even in the series with an 8-2 win. Nationals only had 6 hits today, and a couple of errors hurt for FP and Julie Bob Carpenter. It'll be a rubber game tomorrow behind Gio Gonzalez. Nats Extra, 1 o'clock. First pitch, 1:35. This has been a Masson presentation. Johnny and Ray here at the ballpark. Nats Extra postgame. Straight ahead and from the booth. So long for just a while.